How are we doing, guys? And we are back with football. The proper football is back. It is Premier League football, and it is an absolute Premier League classic. Aston Villa versus Leeds. We are joined by the fantastic Neil from the For Love of Paul McGrath podcast. How are things, fella?
Things are good. Things are good here. If it would just stop raining here in Ireland, and if the wind would die down as well, it'd be nice. But apart from that, everything is fantastic.
It's a very classic mid-February weather, isn't it? In fact, start of February weather. Not sure where I got mid-February from. It feels like mid-February. The year's gone so quick, but it's been an interesting season for both clubs, hasn't it? Let's talk about Aston Villa. This is an opposition preview at the end of the day. It's been like you've had 3 seasons in one go, really, for the Villa. Obviously, start the season with Dean Smith. Jack Grealish leaves. A ton of signings come in to replace Jack Grealish. A lot of them, again, you might disagree with me here, Neil, from a opposition fan looking into Villa, it looks like a lot of them haven't worked out. Then Stevie G turns up, and all of a sudden everything seems to have worked out, and even more signings turn up. And that man, Philippe Coutinho, behind you, signs for the Villa as well. Sum up your season so far, mate.
You've done a great job of it, and it's strange. It's funny, like, because I've got a Leeds supporting mate, and I was only kind of saying to him, I said, like, we couldn't be two opposite clubs at the moment. Stable manager with Leeds, make no signings. Instability at the manager position with Aston Villa, making signings like they're going out of fashion, So, but you're dead right. It's been absolutely mad. Like our pre-season was completely and utterly. It was kind of kiboshed and very, very early on with COVID, and then we missed that. We lost actually 2 preseason games, so didn't get a full preseason slate. Then obviously Jack Grealish goes more or less on the and eve of the new season starting, bringing a lot of players. Injuries hampered us then at the start of the season. Ollie Watkins started the season injured. Leon Bailey's come in. He's barely played 200, 300 minutes for the club so far. Danny Ings came in. He had a COVID situation as well, So we've a lot of the players that have come in and that we've signed have been very, very unlucky with injuries. And also, lest we forget as well, Aston Villa went down this massive treasure trove of playing 3 at the back for a while as well. I even completely forgot about that. So it's been such an instability is the word I would use for Villa, but only on the field. Behind the scenes, it's been a rock of stability, and it's been really, really prosperous. It's just trying to mesh all these new players, and like there's almost a brand new team over the last 3 years in there, and it's trying to mesh all those together with the new Steven Gerrard system as well. And hopefully the last 2 weeks will have given them some time on the training field to do that.
Yeah, I guess it's been the one opportunity of stability for Villa, really, getting things in place in the last sort of 2 weeks without games. And obviously, with you guys going out the cup early as well as us, again, I think you were done in by a VAR decision as well, weren't you, actually, in that cup game? Look, I mean, it's been an interesting start for Stevie G. I mean, it started off flying, then you had a couple of bad-ish results against good teams, and then that one at Brentford, I think I remember. You got beaten away at Brentford.
Yeah,
and then, to be fair, before this little break, you seem to pick up some really, really promising results. So what's the general opinion of Gerrard so far? Is it a massive... I think it might feel a little bit harsh saying this about Dean Smith. I know you were a Dean Smith fan, but has it been a big upgrade on Dean Smith so far? Would it be fair to say?
I wouldn't say it's been a massive upgrade. We play a completely different brand of football, it seems now, when we're on the field. What I'd liken it to is that, I suppose, massive Dean Smith fan, going to put that caveat in there beforehand. Really didn't want to see him go. I was really upset when the club left him go. I wasn't angry at the club or anything like that, but just from the personal point of view, you always kind of want one of your own managing the club. And the fairy tale piece, we had lost one of our own as a captain in Jack Grealish, and then we lose Dean Smith however many games into the season, and it just kind of felt like, the last couple of seasons coming back up into the Premier League, staying there and growing through, and last season as well, all counted for nothing. But the club wanted to go in a different direction. I think what has happened is, as we mentioned, we've got Coutinho there behind me. You can look at the positives and you can look at the negatives of Dean Smith, and I would have loved for him to stay here, but I just don't think someone like Coutinho comes through the doors if he's here. And Steven Gerrard brings that. He brings that aura. He brings that. And I'm going to say that it's almost like a short-term mentality that some players have, specifically with their careers, and they're dead right to have that because of their careers. But, Coutinho's here doing a favour to one of his own mates. And from the signing point of view, I think that's what Steven Gerrard has brought. But Also, I think the biggest selling point for Steven Gerrard is not even Steven Gerrard himself. It's the fact of the coaches that he brought with him. Brought in Michael Beale, who is like, you can see the difference of his tactics, the difference of how he does things. He seems to be this kind of like, I don't know whether it's just Aston Villa fans have built him up to be this. He seems to be this mythical character that comes in and is like a guru on the training ground and is really good. And for that to happen, he needed 2 10s to play behind the striker. And now we've got Emi Buendia and we've got Philippe Coutinho, which is a huge upgrade, I suppose, on when we were playing wingers at times last season and we had El Ghazi and Trezeguet, or Bertrand Traoré and Trezeguet, or Bertrand Traoré and El Ghazi. Because we were missing Jack Grealish for massive parts of last season, I think the Steven Gerrard factor not only is the change in style and the change of coaching had an impact as well, but we have now fortified the squad to help him with that as well. And I think that's probably the main difference behind it, is that Steven Gerrard is okay with using this massive, expansive squad that we have now, which, to be honest with you, was something from dreamland only 18 months ago, but he has it now, and it's up to him to prove that he can use it and catapult us up the league.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, we kind of saw a similar system with Gerrard at Rangers, where he's sort of playing 2 10s behind the main striker, whoever it was, and it was either Morelos or 𝐘𝐒_𝐓𝐇, who obviously we all know a lot about as Leeds fans, and it seems to be the same at Villa. Kind of, it's either Danny Ings or Watkins kind of up top, probably more Watkins at this moment in time. And as you say, Buendia, Coutinho seems like the plan behind them. So is it fair to say your fullbacks have to push up very, very high to provide the width? Obviously, you've brought in Lucas Digne, who we all know is fantastic going forward. Maybe defensively, he's got to work on certain bits, but going forward, he's definitely going to be a constant outlet on that side. And Matty Cash, again, obviously a big boost on the other side. Is that fair to say, Neil?
Yeah, absolutely. And Lucas Digne has been an absolute revelation. He has been like he's come in, he's put in 2 man match performances in the 2 games he's played since he's joined the club. But it's the Lucas Digne situation is almost very similar to the Steven Gerrard, Dean Smith situation. We have Matty Targett, who wasn't exactly doing a million things wrong in any games. He was a solid, steady influence, played really well in tandem with Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish leaves, and then Matty Targett's lack of, I suppose, that attacking side of his game is probably showing up a small bit more when he's asked to go forward. And we bring in Lucas Digne, and then it's a case like, much now as I love Matty Targett, it's very much the same Dean Smith thing. I love him. I didn't want to see him go. He felt he needed to go to get some playing time, and I applaud him for it. And I said, listen, that's absolutely his prerogative. But Lucas Digne has come in. He's had assists in his first 2 games, and he shows that attacking intent. He's a French international. He is a small bit of a step up in class. Brings that leadership from Everton as well, where he did wear the captain's armband. And that back 4 you mentioned with Cash as well. The fact that Cash is there start of the season, we were very much only attacking through Matty Cash. There was 2 or 3 games where if Matty Cash didn't get the ball and cross it into the box, we weren't going to fashion a chance. And that was at the start of the season. And now we've got Cash, Digne, and those two 10s behind Ollie Watkins or Ings. But the big thing here is that Ings and Watkins, when they've played together and even played separately, both of them aren't really firing. And that kind of goes back to the truncated offseason we had, the injuries, the COVID, the change in managerial situation, and the 2 of them need stability, and they need to be told what to do within a system. And as I say, that's why I'm fingers crossed and praying that the last 2 weeks have been very, very beneficial for the 2 guys, because they have been in and around Bodymore Heath, and they have been in and around the training setup for the whole lot of those 2 weeks. So it's really every Villa fan is hoping that those 2 guys will be able to get their scoring boots on over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, certainly with Danny Ings, I know obviously he's a relatively new signing. Well, not compared to the other ones you've made like Digne and Coutinho, but yeah, we all know Danny Ings knows where the back of the net is, and you'd expect that at some point this season he will put a run together. It's Danny Ings at the end of the day. He's a very reliable player at this kind of end of the table, I guess. But one player who has really impressed me, Neil, whenever I have seen Villa this season under Dean Smith or Steven Gerrard in that midfield 3, who probably doesn't get the same level of praise as McGinn or Douglas Luiz, I've got to say, has been Jacob Ramsey. I think he looks a really, really promising talent. Looks like he's got a goal in him. Has he been one of the bright points of Villa's season?
Absolutely. Goes back to, said every team wants to have a fan playing in there, or one of their own at least playing within their squad. And he's come in there and he's taken over that mantle from Jack Grealish. he's just been a consummate professional when he's been on the field. He's like a guy who just knows how to play a game of football. And it all kind of stems from, he was getting games last season, he was getting games the season before, and he was coming off the bench, and things weren't really happening for him, and he looked young. Granted, he's only 20 now, but he looked young when he was coming off the bench, and it just seemed to click last season. Towards the end of last season, he came on against Arsenal, and I think it was Granit Xhaka and himself were both going for a 50-50 ball, and he absolutely bust him out over the sideline. And it was just that bit of robustness that, like, I think everybody turned around and looked up at him and went, where did he find that in his locker? And since then, he's kind of, I think it was always the piece with him was he always had it in his legs. He just needed to get it, he needed to get a small bit stronger, and to kind of get used to playing big boys football, I suppose. And this season he's been really good. He's been your typical number 8, going forward, coming back. Just I mentioned it about Watkins and Ings being guys that need to be told what to do and they'll do it. Ramsey seems to be that coach's dream, that you can tell him what to do and he will do it. And he patrols in around there in midfield very, very well. And, as I say, he started to get goals recently. And, that's all we can really ask for from a 20-year-old kid who's come in and hopefully is going to save us money that we don't need to part with in the summer.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. Obviously, Leeds have got a lot of youngsters as well. And just before I let you go, Neil, obviously I know you need to get off in a second, but what have you made to Leeds this season? I don't know if you've seen much of us this season. Is there anyone specifically from the Leeds team who concerns you going into this game on Wednesday night?
I think Leeds are probably up there with the most unlucky. I've spoken about our bad luck, but it isn't even a patch on Leeds' bad luck with injuries. I think every Villa fan is breathing a sigh of relief that there is going to be no Patrick Bamford, that he is still out with an injury, because Leeds like to score 3 goals when they come to Villa Park, and Bamford likes to score goals as well. So delighted that he's not going to be there. I think obviously Jack Harrison was finding form just before the break, so he's somebody obviously that that game that Bamford got 3 goals in, I think it was last season. It was really Jack Harrison that did us in, because he just basically stayed out on the touchline, dragged all our defenders over to one side, and then they just switched the play to him. And of course, he's lightning when he gets down the wing. So definitely someone like Jack Harrison is someone that Villa are going to need to keep an eye on. But the Leeds team is such an enigma too, because I would still say it that you hear people like Gabby Bono or whatever having his I
wasn't going to mention it, to be fair. I try and avoid it.
His slagger match with Danny Mills and stuff like that, and obviously that came from saying that Bielsa is a myth, and he's not a myth. Bielsa is just fantastic. He really is. Bielsa could probably play me up front and get 9 goals out of me in maybe a championship level, maybe not in the Premier League, but probably a championship level he could. But so it never really worries me too much who Leeds are missing, because there's such a template that he has there, that Bielsa has there, that the likes of, I've seen guys like Shackleton come in and like rip it up in a game and just play absolutely amazing. To be
fair, that game at Villa Park last season was probably the best game I've ever seen Shackleton play.
He was amazing. He came on after 20 minutes, I think, for Strike. I think Strike was playing central defensive midfielder, and he got a yellow card, I think.
Yeah,
and Shackleton came in. And Shackleton and is it 𝐘𝐿? I never remember how to pronounce his name. The two of those guys they just absolutely marshaled that midfield, and it made it very easy for the guys out in the wings, to do damage. So, I think as long as Marcel Bielsa is there, I think the Leeds will come to play, and you guys will get chances for sure, regardless of who's playing up top, for you tomorrow night or on Wednesday night.
I love that, Neil. I love that. Just before I let you go, mate, let's get a prediction from you.
I think Villa are going to score goals. I think they are. I just think that I don't know whether I've got my complete another claret and blue glasses on after seeing Coutinho's banger for Brazil in the.
Oh, what a goal it was! By the way, Rafinha scores in that game as well.
It's God, I completely forgot about Rafinha when I was talking about people.
I was surprised, to be honest. I was surprised.
All that was going through my head was Jack Harrison and Tyler Roberts. Is there surely someone else other than Jack Harrison and Tyler Roberts? But Jesus, Rafinha. But I'm going to go with 3-1 Villa. And
Okay.
only reason I'm going to go with 3-1 Villa is that I mentioned Ali Watkins needed to find these scoring boots. Villa played 2 behind closed doors games over the last week, and Watkins has scored them both. And I think that they've been setting up for that. Buendia came back from international duty early. Ings and Watkins, as I say, have been in and around the squad. We didn't have Douglas Luiz go away, so we've had a lot of the guys that we need to get up to speed around Bodymore, and I think it's going to prove fruitful for us.
Okay, well, I think it's going to be a great game. I think either way, I think it's going to be a real end-to-end game. I think every single time we've played each other since Bielsa's been in charge, we've had classics at Villa Park especially, to be fair. Even at Ellen Road, the drama over Tadaro not kicking the ball out. It's always a dramatic game. Hopefully it's going to be a classic again. And yeah, that's the main thing. Hopefully we can get a result. We can really do with it, but look, we'll see how it goes. But I think it's going to be an absolutely superb game. Guys, check out Neil from the For Love of Paul McGrath podcast. I will leave the link in the description down below and the link to their Twitter as well. Check them out, guys. Absolute legends. They have been on there before. I think this is the hat trick. I think this is the hat trick of appearances.
I think it is too. Yeah, I think it is.
Pretty sure it will be. We'll arrange that match ball, Neil. We'll arrange that match ball anyway. But yeah, absolute legend is Neil, and we'll leave it there, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done already. And make sure you subscribe to